Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are all having a blessed day. Mine's going really good. Hey, I got a few other things today that I wanted to talk about that I couldn't quite fit into last Wednesday's video. But I wanted to talk to you for a minute about intelligence versus stupidity. And people, that's the world we live in right now. We live in a world with intelligence or stupidity, and there doesn't seem to be any neutral ground. It's one or the other. So listen, when you look at the definition of intelligence, it means the ability to acquire and apply knowledge, the ability to learn. It means you have an open mind. Someone can say to you something to you and it makes sense, and you say, you know what, I'm going to check that out. You have an open mind. You're teachable. Stupidity, on the other hand, this is the definition of stupidity: the lack of good sense or judgment. The quality of being stupid or unintelligent. That means that when someone presents you with the facts, you don't want anything to do with it. Don't give me the facts. Do not confuse me with the facts. I already know what I'm talking about. So listen, this is what Romans 1:21 says. Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. People, that's the world we live in right now. People that are vain in their imaginations, and their hearts are darkened. When a person decides to suppress God, when they decide to drive God out, they lose the ability to acquire knowledge, and their heart becomes dark. Their mind becomes void of understanding, and what happens? They go into what we call total spiritual confusion. Absolute spiritual confusion. The minute you drive God out, confusion comes in. The lines between good and evil are blurred. Wrong becomes right. Right becomes wrong, down's up, up's down, black's white, white's black. You're completely confused. And they begin to love that darkness. They love the darkness, and the more they get into the darkness, the more they hate the light. They don't want anything to do with the light, and they don't want anything to do with anybody who is in the light. Paul goes on to say in Romans 1:28, and even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. So it says God gave them over to a reprobate mind. A mind of the flesh. A mind to pursue everything the flesh wants to pursue without any restraint whatsoever. You know, the churches in America are emptying out. They've already emptied out in Europe long ago, but the churches in America are completely emptying out. Darkness is taking over this country. Every aspect of society has gone into darkness. We kicked prayer out of schools in the 60s. We kicked all the Bibles out of all the libraries and all the schools. Some of our greatest institutions, our greatest universities were all Christian-based, and now they're all absolutely secular. Nothing involving God is allowed on these institutions. Our halls of justice, there's no justice anymore. Look at all the top government officials. Hunter Biden's laptop, the evidence can be overwhelming. These people don't even go to trial. They don't even go to trial. We have a two-tier justice system. The one for you and me, and the one for all the rich. Look at our movies right now. You know, back in the 50s, when I was a kid, listen, when I was a kid, on TV, like Lucy and Ricky and Leave It to Beaver's mom and dad, when they showed their bedroom, they had separate beds. They were married, and in the bedroom scene, they had separate beds. They couldn't even show a toilet on TV back in the 50s. All of our movies, All the great movies of the 50s and back were all biblically based. Remember the Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur? All those movies were all biblical. Our music. People, listen, the other day I got in my wife's car and I hit the seat button because I didn't like the music, and all of a sudden I got this one song that had a pretty good beat, and I just left it there because I was pulling out of the driveway and leaving, and we drive about 2 blocks, and my wife looks at me and she goes, "What are you listening to?" And I go, "I don't know. I just got a pretty good beat. It was just music." She goes, "Listen to the words." And I hadn't been listening to the words. And people, this song, it was the most filthy song you could ever imagine, and I did not even know what I was listening to. It was just there in the background. But it was absolute filth. Just filth. And that's normal. That's the world we live in. It's absolutely normal. So Romans 1:29-31 says, the reprobate mind, right? The reprobate mind that Paul talked about. When you get a reprobate mind, these are the things that your mind is filled with. It says, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful. People, that's the world we live in. You take a look at these BLM riots, these Antifa riots, just all the stuff going on in the street. People are crazy. They have a reprobate mind. They're not even normal anymore. I was watching a show the other day, a video on YouTube, and I forget what it was, but anyway, there was this guy. He was obviously a Christian, and he was a speaker at a college campus. And he said, he was talking to the students, and he said, listen, he said, let me tell you something that you do not get. This has been drilled in your heads, but you don't get it. He said, listen, men cannot become women. Women cannot become men. And the minute he said that, this lady jumped up and she said, I'm a man. And the guy looked at her and he says, were you born with a uterus? And I'm serious, guys. There was a spirit came over that girl, and she started screaming, I'm a man. I have a uterus, but I'm a man. I'm a man. Don't tell me I'm not a man. I mean, she was demonically possessed, and she was just screaming that I'm a man at the top of her lungs. People, that's the world we live in. That's the world we live in. You can't reason with these people. You can't teach them anything. You can't show them the facts. They don't want to know the facts because just like this says, they are the definition of stupidity. They can't be taught. And the reason they can't be taught is because they've been programmed. They've been programmed their whole life to think all this woke, cancel culture garbage. They can't be taught. They've been programmed. People, when God got kicked out of America in the 60s, God got kicked out of all of our financial institutions, our education system, business. God got kicked out of every aspect of American life. And when that happened, there became a void. In came the demons to fill that void. And they filled it, they did. So listen, this darkness now is fueled by technology. Darkness is fueled by technology. A lot of this stuff that we're getting, a lot of this technology is all demonically based. I believe it's been given to us by the demonic host. I mean, look at CERN. CERN was built over an ancient demonic site. And I honestly believe that they're trying to open a portal to let those demonic hosts out that have been in prison for all this time. And a lot of this technology is like that. People, it's all coming down to the wire. It is all coming down to the wire. Our scientists right now, I just saw the other day that where they had these, I don't even know what the term was, but anyway, it's cells that they're interjecting into a pig, and it's going to grow a human heart. So they're growing a human heart in a pig that they can put in a human. But the guy said there's one problem. They can't just contain it to the heart. There's also a very good chance that this pig could have a human brain. A human heart and a human brain inside of a pig. That's the stuff they're doing. That's the stuff they're doing. These people have no conscience. They have no morals. They have nothing. When Jesus said at the end of time, it'll be just like in the days of Noah. This is modern day Nephilim. Modern day Nephilim. Splicing human genes with animal genes, demonic genes, just, I mean, it's nuts. And it's all happening all around us. People, I've told you this before, and I'm not kidding. There's already people that are spotting some really weird stuff all over the world. Weird creatures. I mean, there's people seeing stuff out in the woods that cannot be identified. It's all coming, and pretty soon you and I are going to start seeing it too. And the reason we're going to start seeing it is because these people are stupid. These scientists are stupid. They're messing with stuff they don't even know that what they're getting into. Just like opening up CERN. You know, Stephen Hawkins. Stephen Hawkins, he's a total atheist, but he told them, don't turn that thing on. You turn that thing on and turn it all the way up, you don't know what's going to happen. You could start a black hole and suck us all into it. He warned them, you don't know what you're doing. And they said, well, it'll probably be okay. Well, let's do it anyway. People, I know that we're coming down to the end. We're coming down to the end because right now in this world there is no common sense. Common sense is gone and stupidity abounds. That's the way I see it. That is absolutely the way I see it. We have a generation right now that can't even think for themselves. They are absolutely programmed what to think, programmed what to say, and they will stick to it all the way to the grave. So anyway, listen, I just wanted to give you something to think about. Like I say, this video on last Wednesdays this is kind of the carryover of that video. So I hope you guys all have a blessed week. Just remember, heaven or hell, you choose. And once you take your last breath, it's a done deal.